the Motley Patriot here. So, as you know, I put a couple of videos up on swapping engine out on this nice old 2008 Prius. And, you know, it's replete with the standard issue groovy Prius bumper Snickers. And, but I've seen on YouTube there's been issues where these Gen 2 Priuses, the dash lights will go on. And I've seen some people show some programming where you reset it with holding the display button and then turning the lights on and off and a number of things, and they all seem to look pretty good. But here's the thing, sometimes maybe you want to get it out to 50 cal. I don't know, you get frustrated with the problems. Sometimes maybe you just need a good hammer. That's how you feel. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes you need to understand that any mechanical system is a component of all its parts, and how they work together, that connection between those a lot of times is a weak link in the chain. So I'm recommending, and I worked as a GM, I was trained in electrical systems back in the late 70s, and electrical is electrical. And the weak link on a lot of these things, come over here and I'll show you. So we pulled the deck out. I don't need to get into all that. You guys can find a million people that did that. But if you come and look around here, so stop by the trusty local store that says, hey, what's going on? Like, it won't work. They're like, oh, you just need a battery. You just put a battery in it. Yeah, it needs new something that's expensive that I've got on the shelves. Okay, sometimes that works. But sometimes maybe there's a little rusty bolt that connects the primary point between the battery and the ground. And oh, look, a little corrosion on that connection there. It might look okay here, but if this guy isn't grounding through the body, and by the way, if you look over here, I'll show you something. Come over here, camera girl. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look where you need to come around here, where my middle finger is pointing, that little bolt hole right there, there is no star washer on this to facilitate a good connection. So yes, every bit of electricity that your car uses is going through a little rusty bolt thread. So what's the solution to that? Sometimes the solution is a sandpaper, okay, and a wire brush to clean up. Look at all that rust coming off of that. In fact, oh yeah, see all that rust? That's called oxidation. And oxidation is an enemy to conductivity. There you go. Look at all that dust coming out. So I'm cleaning it beforehand, but after I get it all cleaned up, and because I can't get this big brush in the clamps, I'll come back to that. But I'll also spray it all with some WD-40. Now, there's other types of rust inhibitors. They call this stop squeaks, removes and protects, loosens rusted parts, frees sticky mechanisms, and drives out moisture. There are some other solutions that can actually do better to improve conductivity, like I think there are certain conductive greases. But if I get all the rust off and I do a good clean job, and what I'm going to do with this guy, because I can't get my brush inside there, so I'll go ahead and do a little clean up some of that oxidation in there. Just okay, there's nothing real heavy on that. But look, everything that this car does comes through this little tiny wire that connects to this, that connects to the body of the car. So everything that runs off of this car, with the exception of the motors and the high current, is going through the You Are the Weakest Link. I don't know if you ever watched The Weakest Link. What was that thing called, that show?
It's called Weakest
Yeah,
Link.
The Weakest Link. Well, in electricity, it has to flow all over the vehicle. And this vehicle has a little bit of rust underneath it, which may prove to offer some other issues. And I have actually run grounds back from a battery to a forward part of a vehicle, because I've done a lot of repairs when I was a certified General Motors. Back so long ago, it was called NAICE, N-A-I-S-E, instead of ACE. So I was a NAICE. Anyway, little bit of go away. And this guy looks good, but I'll take a little bit of this stuff, and I love this stuff. It's so handy. Emery cloth, I believe they call it. And it'll conform to the area that you're sanding. And they make tools that'll clean, little round brushes that'll clean it out. But a little bit of fresh emery paper and actually probably do it with this. There you go. A little bit of, because sometimes you could use a dowel rod or a piece of wood. But oh, look at that. And now suddenly the flat gray look is replaced with a, see the shine? You got the shine, boy. You got the shine. Instead of having to deal with the, that's from, what was that movie called with Jack?
The Shining.
The Shining. You got the shine, boy. Red rum, Mrs. Torrance. My electricity isn't conducting anymore, Mrs. Torrance. Anyway, sorry about that. Bad imitation. Red rum. Yeah, we don't want the red rum moment with the car, which is, you don't want to red rum your car with the 50 cal ammo box. Never a good thing. But you get the general idea. But, so there's that. And then we got this guy cleaned up. And let's look at the, and of course there's the battery terminals themselves. Now, fortunately, this is a new battery. And I'll just give it a quick brush. And as you can see, this is a Toyota battery, Prius battery. It's got really small terminals on it. So it's really important. But this doesn't carry a whole lot of stuff, but it does carry some. And let's see, I've got to get, oh yeah, and I've got to get, here's the positive side of this. Now this guy, I've taken this guy apart because I was going to try to spread it out a little bit and put a little time into it and clean it. And then give it a fresh new crank down. And I think sometimes it's telltale sign when you go to when you go to clamp down on this. I'll show you how this works. You've got this bolt here. If I can do this. Yeah, there we go. Might have disfigured it a little bit, taking it off, trying to get that bolt out. But anyway, there we go. But when you tighten up these, when you tighten these up and you see the gap right there, well, when I came up to this and looked at it after someone else, these two pieces were touching and interfering with one another, which means it's not far enough down on the post to actually give it the chance to crank. You got to make sure that, and look at that, you got to make sure that when this guy is on there, that it is all the way down. This is one of the natures. These posts are tapered. This is tapered. It's real easy for people to put this on here and not open the clamp enough when they replace it to push it all the way down on the battery post. And you should have a gap here when you're done. So we'll put it back together and we'll let you know. But and as usual, we recommend that you don't do anything, that you sit on the couch and eat pizza and pay somebody a whole lot of money to fix this 3, 4, 5, 6 times. You can go to your local certified Toyota dealer, but sometimes that's hit or miss too, because sometimes the guy just got out of university on how to get a gender study degree, and he realizes he's broke, and he's like, well, I can become a mechanic. And maybe they can. We'll see. Anyway, Motley Patriot, like and subscribe. Appreciate all your support. Thanks again. Does that make sense?